How's it going, YouTube? Mark from Like-Minded Lunatics coming at you with a Friday night reaction video. New Year's Eve edition, baby. That's right. For me, it's New Year's Eve, and I'm very excited about that for two reasons. Number one, we're putting an end to 2021. Done, putting an end to it. And then, the second thing, my birthday's tomorrow. That's right. Born in 1977, turning 45 tomorrow. Feel old as shit, so let's celebrate by watching a really cool music video. Before I get to that, let me remind you, hey, have you subscribed to the channel yet? My writing partner and co-founder of Like-Minded Lunatics, Todd Wright, and I would really appreciate your support by hitting that subscribe button right over there in the corner of your screen. We would really appreciate it. We're working hard to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and we're almost there. With your help, we can hit it, and I'd love to do it before the clock hits midnight tonight, you know, before we actually are in the new year. So hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you check out some of our other content. We've got original music, original stories. Todd does a segment called Drink, Play, Swear. There's so much stuff on this channel that I think you would enjoy. All right, let's get to tonight's music video. Let me go ahead and pull up the thing. There we go. Now, first off, what is Friday Night Reaction Video? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. That's where I pick a fun music video and we talk about it. We have some drinks and we have some fun. Do we do live footage? Rarely. Here's why. Because we're looking at music videos as if they are singular pieces of art, right? So I want to look at the music video as a piece of art unto itself. So if you want to watch live reaction videos, there's a ton of channels that do it way better than I could. I encourage you to check those out. Occasionally we will, but not all that often. So tonight, we're going to go with, well, you know what we're going with. It's in the title of this stupid thing. We're going to take a look at Nightwish's The Islander. Now, I don't know if you saw it, but last week, Robert Eggers, the director who directed The Witch and The Lighthouse, released a new trailer for his new film, The Northman. Have you seen that? I'll put a link to it right here. Dear God, that thing looks amazing. It reminded me of Hellblade, you know, Senua's Sacrifice and all that stuff on the Xbox, and I got lost in a video rabbit hole of Celtic music and Gaul music and things like that. And then this popped up. I had no idea Nightwish did kind of a Celtic-y song. You know, normally they're known for their symphonic metal. That's not what this is at all. It's fascinating, so I thought we would take a look at it. Now, usually, with our Friday Night Reaction videos, we share a beer. It just didn't feel appropriate, so what I'm going to go with tonight is a Viti. It's an Icelandic aquavit that I picked up the last time we were in Iceland, and I think it's going to pair really well with this. Now, you don't have to have an alcoholic beverage, but I do encourage you to have a drink so that we can cheers. To the end of a week, the end of a year, and my birthday. So cheers, everybody. Cheers. All right, so pulled up the information so I don't get stuff wrong. This was released in 2008 off of Nightwish's album Dark Passion Play. Now, about the music video, I'm excited about this. It was directed by Stobe Harju and produced by Ika Immonen of Lapland Studio. So that's exciting, and boy, this video is it's great. So I'm excited to get to it. So let's go ahead and start. Nightwish, The Islander, 2008. Ooh. Now I don't know about you, but it's impossible for me to see a shot like that without thinking of Sauron and marching into Mordor. Yeah, I'm already loving the beginning of this. Number one, cinematography, Gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm glad I picked this Icelandic aquavit. I think it fits this well. I love the cinematography. We're kind of using a gray palette. We've got this old man on the shore, and it's impossible not to think about things like Old Man in the Sea from Hemingway when you see an old guy like this on the shore of the ocean. It's just gorgeously shot. The other things interesting are the dirigibles, like, almost steampunky dirigibles in the air.
An old man by a seashore at the end of day gazes the horizon with sea winds in his face. Tempest-tossed island, seasons all the same. Anchorage and painted and a ship without a name. Sea without a shore for the banished one unheard. He lightens the beacon light at the end of world, showing the way, lighting hope in their hearts, the ones in their travels homeward from afar.
Wow, those are two fascinating verses. Fascinating. Before I dive into this, I think it's going to behoove me to tell you kind of how I view art. You know, in graduate school, my literature is what my graduate degree is in. We're constantly talking about the difference between so-called high and so-called low art. What's the difference between those two things? And if you get 10 lit majors together and ask them for their definitions, you're going to get like 25 different definitions and probably a fist fight. But my definition of high versus low art was always this. Low art is surface level, does not lend itself to any different interpretations. So like Andrew WK's Party Hard, that song is about Andrew WK's desire to party hard. There's no nuance, there's no subtext, there's no literary elements to it. It's literally about Andrew WK wanting to party hard. Or take Wingers, 17. That whole song is about how Kip wants to bang 17-year-olds. There's no nuance, there's no subtext, there's no context other than Kip being a creep. High art, on the other hand, is a piece of art that's so complex that it lends itself to multiple equally valid readings, right? So if different people from different backgrounds read that or watched that or looked at that piece of art, they would likely have different interpretations of it because it's so complex that it lends itself to that. I'm going to go ahead and say this is high art to me. Already, high art. I can see how there would be many different interpretations of this. So the lyrics in the first two verses. An old man by a seashore at the end of day. That in and of itself is interesting. Okay, an old man by the seashore immediately calls to mind Old Man in the Sea, also calls in mind the mariner in the Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Coleridge. At the end of day. Important. There's no definite article there. At the end of the day would be a definite article. That would tell you at the end of a singular day. At the end of a singular 24-hour time period. Doesn't have that. At the end of day. That could be interpreted as either a singular day or a lifetime, or maybe an eternity, I don't know. Gazes at the horizon with sea winds in his face, tempest-tossed island. You can't say island and tempest in the same sentence without thinking of Shakespeare's The Tempest. You just can't do it, and that whole play is about magic. Seasons all the same, anchorage unpainted, and a ship without a name. Sea without a shore for the banished one unheard. All right, who's the banished one? Now that almost sounds biblical. Are we talking about Cain? Are we talking about someone who committed some form of hubris? He lightens the beacon, light at the end of world. So is the old man the person lighting the beacon at the end of world? Showing the way, lighting hope in their hearts, the ones on their travels homeward from afar. In just those two verses, multiple readings. So the old man could be, a mythological figure that helps people cross to the underworld, kind of like Charon from Greek mythology. Charon is a psychopomp. A psychopomp is a creature who guides mortals to the land of the dead. Or it could just literally be about an old man wandering on the seashore. I don't know yet.
This is for long forgotten, light at the end of the world, horizon crying, the tears you left behind. behind long ago.
Now this verse is also fascinating. This is for long forgotten light at the end of the world. Horizon crying the tears he left behind long ago. So the horizon is crying. Are those tears the tears he left behind? So his tears are the horizon's tears? That's interesting. You know, again, in Greek literature, apotheosis is when we have either a mortal or a demigod ascend into the heavens to become, something more than mortal. Is that what's happened to this old guy? Again, is he a psychopomp? Now we get our first vision of what looks to be a spirit of some sort. And it does look like a shade, right? In Greek literature, you didn't really have ghosts so much as shades. That's what that looks like.
The albatross is flying, making him daydream. The time before he became when all there was to see. Princess in the tower, children in the fields. Life gave him it all, and not another universe. Oh, now his love's a memory, a ghost in the fog.
All right, so, God, I'm in the middle of that verse and I had to stop it because now, okay, so this next verse begins, the albatross is flying. You can't talk about albatross without talking about Rime of the Ancient Mariner. So, in the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the mariner is on a ship, it gets pushed towards the Antarctic and they start to get lost. They see an albatross. Normally an albatross is a sign of good luck. And the mariner decides that it's not in their case, and so he shoots it. And at first, the other sailors are happy because it looks like they're starting to leave the storm. But then a bunch of ghosts and I don't know if they're demons, but in any case, spirits start assailing them. Death herself comes because he shot the albatross in an act of hubris. And it's hard not to think about that here, making him daydream the time before he became. So the time before he existed? That's eternity. One of the world's unseen, princesses in the tower, children in the fields, life gave him it all, an island of the universe. Whew. Now his love's a memory, a ghost in the fog. So are these things that are basically dancing around him, are those his memories?
Now his love's a memory, a ghost in the fog.
Is that his love dancing around him?
He sets the sails for last time, saying farewell to the world. Anchor to the water, seabed far below. Grass to wind, he's fit and a smile beneath his brow.
And then he tosses the anchor over the side. And again, this verse, he sets the sails one last time, saying farewell to the world, anchor to the water, seabed far below. Grass still in his feet and smile beneath his brow. It calls to mind the author, where Arthur, is killed and they send him off to Avalon. Recalls the end of Return of the King, where Bilbo essentially starts to journey into the land of the dead. It is fascinating to me. I don't know what's happening here. He tosses the anchor off that cliff, though. I do feel like that's significant.
This is for long forgotten, light at the end of the world.
And now the ship is leaving. So he drugged the ship through the shades, maybe through the memories of his love. He drugged the ship all the way there, and then he throws the anchor off, and now the ship can travel on its own. So maybe he is a psychopomp. That was their job, to take mortals from the land of the living to the land of the dead. Maybe that's his job.
I'm crying, the tears we left behind long ago.
Boy, that tree, and I guess is that a lute? Boy, that calls to mind Ori and the Will-o'-the-Wisps. Have you played that game? Get ready to cry. they're not really kenning, but they are like lamenting that so long ago line. Oh. What a gorgeous shot that is, right? I also love the fact that the band is in this ring of fire, not just because of Ring of Fire and Johnny Cash, although that is part of it. I also love the symmetry of it and the imagery of it. It's not really ice and fire, you know, like you would see in Iceland or something like that, but it is a barren land, and then you've got fire, which is kind of a source of energy, forming a ring around them, a symmetrical, unbreaking circle. The symmetry of that is beautiful. Yeah, it's a gorgeous shot. So is it... That dude's eyeliner's on point. Jealous of that. All right, so is his job done now, do we think? You know, if it's a one and done thing, maybe that's supposed to symbolize his death, and he's letting the people who he loved, who he carried, who he helped guide, he's letting them go. He's letting them go on their own journey, and he's now taking his eternal rest. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe, again, he's Charon, and he's a psychopomp leading mortals across the river, or the land of Styx, I guess it would be here. The ocean would represent the afterlife. Or is it a Sisyphean task? Is he like Sisyphus? Is he doomed to do this over and over? His eyeliner's great! Oh, now the fog is back. Now the fog is all the way back. Is that the ring that the band was in? I think that it is. I think the band is done now. Did the dirigible wreck? Whoa. I don't know what to make of this, you guys. Holy shit, that thing just flew right at the camera. What was that? Is that ash? It's hard to tell, isn't it? Maybe ash pushed the camera out. I don't know what to make of this. I feel like that there is a unified meaning to this. An M theory, if you will, of this video that I'm missing. There's so many literary references, so many cinematic references to this in both the video and the song. You know, Morpheus says, it feels like a splinter in your mind. That's how I feel right now. I feel like there's a splinter in my mind because there's so many references that I can clearly see, but the through line isn't apparent. What a great video, though. Oh, man. And I love the contemplativeness of it. I love the, the old guy leading that dirigible across the land of ice and fire, what it appears to be, or fog and fire maybe is a better way to put it. And then he throws that anchor over, and the dirigible takes off on his own, and he sits there and he smiles forlornly as it takes off, and he watches it go. And then the shades come back and they dance around them. What a great ending to that. Oh, man. I I'm gonna have to think about this, you know? I may have to write about it. I may have to journal about it. I'm not sure yet, but boy, this has left me with a lot to think about. Let me know in the comments what you think. Remember, keep them nice. If they're not nice, Todd and I just delete them. We're creating a community here, and if you don't want to be part of it, we just exclude you. That's how it goes. Leave me some comments. Make sure they're nice. Give me a thumbs up. And hey, hit the subscribe button. Bang, right over there. That's what Todd would say. Right over there. Hit that subscribe and help support the channel. All right, folks. Have a great New Year's Eve. Have an even better New Year's Day. And hopefully 2022 is not going to suck as bad as the last 2 years. So cheers, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.